What if everything you believed in was a lie, and the deliverance promised to you was never going to be fulfilled? This was the fate of the Golden Order, not by their own fault, not even entirely by Marika's fault, but rather may have been due to the greater will, or more precisely due to its absence. Note that in this video there will be a fair bit of speculation coming from me as we talk about the doomed Golden Order and how it all stems from Metyr, the mother of all two fingers and the broken router of the greater will. I believe this brokenness of Metyr is also the reason why Marika shattered the Elden Ring. So let's get right into it. Metyr was the first shooting star that fell into the lands between, and as mentioned, she is the mother of all two fingers and finger creepers, at least according to her remembrance. She is also, or was also, the one supposed to be communicating with the greater will, but at some point became broken and could no longer receive any messages, while it is also implied that the two fingers communicate with her instead of directly to the greater will. As such, during the base game, when the Elden Ring was shattered and the Golden Order was abandoned by the greater will, it may actually have been Metyr who stopped communicating with the two fingers. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, and let's start in the beginning. Miquella the Kind mentioned in the story trailer for the DLC that there was a seduction and a betrayal. I have a few theories on this, but for this video, I believe it might be referring to Marika and the Greater Will. The Greater Will or Metyr might have seduced Marika with power, or maybe even vice versa, while the betrayal could either be the plucking of the Rune of Death or the fact that the Greater Will wasn't there after all. Either way, the two fingers may have promised Marika with power. A power capable of saving her people, a power capable of carrying out her revenge, and a power that would grant her godhood. The power of the grace of gold. Unfortunately, this power is but a hollow promise. While it did come true, it would ultimately serve as her prison as well. Now, according to Count Ymir, Metyr was broken from the beginning, that Metyr may have been operating on old instructions from the Greater Will, and that from the very beginning, the Greater Will had already abandoned them. In my opinion, this may have been unknown to Marika at the time that she received her two fingers from Metyr. Thus, she helped create the Golden Order with the two fingers on Metyr's design or an outdated design of the Greater Will. And perhaps Metyr had hoped that it would garner notice from the Greater Will if she had succeeded in the lands between. So it may have been Metyr that granted Marika the seeds of the Erdtree, similar to how we were granted a talisman by blowing on the horn in the Finger Ruins. Unfortunately, Marika's rise to the Divine Gate is still largely a mystery, so through some chicanery, Marika was able to rise to the Divine Gate and ascend to godhood. It's not really that clear how she did this. Perhaps she already had Godfrey with her in order to assist her in becoming a god, or maybe the two fingers just had enough power to ascend her to the Divine Gate. Either way, by ascending to godhood, she was able to plant the seeds of the Erdtree. And according to the trailer,
an affair from which gold arose.
Gold arose from this union, and I believe that the seeds of the Erdtree may have also contained the Elden Beast, though maybe in an infant form, which grew with the Erdtree and eventually into the Elden Ring. It may have also been here that the Elden Ring would be interred into Queen Marika, prompting the official start of the Golden Order. However, without a true outer god backing up this Golden Order, its rise was not a pleasant one, as everything was opposed to it. The giants, the dragons, maybe even the Eternals, and many, many more. Luckily, Marika would have an Elden Lord in the form of Godfrey to battle with those opposed to the Golden Order, and would have many children as well. These demigod children would be a great strength to her power as well. Aside from the demigods, those interred in the walking mausoleum are said to be great warriors that are her children cast away as well. Godfrey and her demigod children would wage war with all those opposed to the order, and with the power of the grace of gold, they would emerge victorious in this endeavor. So with the Golden Order at the top, they would enter the age of the Erdtree, and with no more enemies, Marika would exile Godfrey and his warriors and strip them of the grace of gold so that they would get stronger outside of the lands between. Doing this, she created the Tarnished. But what now? For while the grace of the Erdtree was abundant, it was only fleeting. This may have been where the instructions of the Greater Will to the Mother of Fingers ended, and from this point forward, there was nothing left. No word, no communication, the voyage of gold halted with silence from the stars. The bounty of the Erdtree was plentiful, but it was short. From this point, the people of the Erdtree may have been faltering. And so in the minor Erdtree church, Marika would declare,
In Marika's own words, I declare mine intent to search the depths of the Golden Order through understanding of the proper way. Our faith, our grace is increased. Those blissful early days of blind belief are long past. My comrades, why must ye falter?
I think from here she learned of the truth of the Greater Will, and that it was all but a sham. This isn't a far-fetched idea, since even Gideon, after a lengthy talking session with the Two Fingers, learned that everything had been broken long ago. So the power promised to Marika, while somewhat fulfilled as she was able to conquer all her enemies and even wage war with the Hornson and Holy Crusade, it eventually all reverted to nothing. Without the continued sustenance of the Greater Will, the Erdtree and its blessings eventually weakened. And still, without any communication sent to Metyr, the future is uncertain. At this point, I think this is when the Golden Order or Marika would ask Radahn to conquer the stars to halt fate, either as an offensive move against their enemies or to simply keep things from straying further into oblivion. To which he did. Radahn conquered the stars, keeping them in place and keeping everything stagnant, completely halting fate. That is until Ranni the Witch enacted the Night of the Black Knives, which we won't go into any more detail about since there's a lot of videos about it already. So in any case, Godwyn's death pushes Marika to the brink. Despite removing the rune of destined death and despite halting the stars, none of this would keep her family safe. This would eventually drive her to want to break away from this false greater will and from this prison of stagnancy and inevitable doom. And so she shattered the Elden Ring. Upon doing so, Metyr could no longer abide by her. Thus, Metyr abandoned the Golden Order, forever just waiting for communications from the Greater Will. And while the Two Fingers within the Order still scrambled to try and fix things, everything would ultimately end up in the Shattering War. However, Marika, being the tactician that she is, still had a final gambit to play. A final grace that she granted onto those that she exiled long ago, to the Tarnished who had perished. Thus, we were awakened to stand before the Elden Ring and claim the title of Elden Lord. The rest is the game, and how you go about it is up to you. But yeah, that's it. That's basically just my theory on why Marika shattered the Elden Ring and why the Golden Order was inevitably doomed to fail from the start. Turns out it shouldn't have succeeded in the first place. Perhaps Marika's rage to the Ornstead is what drove her to succeed despite not having the Greater Will backing her up. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you think Count Ymir spoke true that the Greater Will was never there in the first place? Or do you think that the Greater Will simply abandoned the Golden Order and left Metyr to fend for herself? Let me know in the comments down below, and thank you for watching.